many practical sessions. There is an aspect of our work that has to do with planning your research. I believe when Dr. Adedine comes, he will be able to put us through very well on that. Tips on developing appropriate tables, charts, presentation of results. Statistics is majorly divided into two. Okay, two hands, so to say. Descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. The very first thing you talk about is descriptive. Describe your data. Again, let me recall, or let me say it again. They are majorly we're focusing on quantitative data. Okay? Quantitative data. Even if it is qualitative data, you still have to describe the people you interviewed one way or the other. But for now, when we talk about tables and things like that, we'll talk quantitative data. And why are we using the word appropriate tables, appropriate charts? Let me just remind you of what Dr. Adedine said yesterday. That has to do with the nature of data, the nature of a variable. If it is an ordinal, if it is a nominal, and if it is numerical. So we need to get that very well when it comes to appropriate charts, okay, and then appropriate tables. And of course, presentation of results. I'll just give an outline of presentation of results, and then we're good to start our practicals. I want to believe everybody has at least the African version of Stata.
Not yet.
Not yet? Why? Who doesn't have Stata? Really? The Stata also comes with data too. Okay, all right, fine. Probably while this is going on, we can get that done. But at the same time, I will need your attention here. Apparently, this thing is not working. Learning objectives. Bullet 1. Who came in last here? Nurse, yeah.
Understand and identify the variables and their respective levels needed in each specific objective.
What does that mean? We said yesterday that there is what is called general objective, and there is specific objectives. Each of the specific objectives, 3, 4, 5, no matter the number, must at the end of the day flow into each other to address the general objective. In fact, that's what makes the work interesting to read. Moving from one area to the other and things like that. So you must have identified the variables, their respective levels. What does that mean? Levels means categories. If you are dealing with categorical variables, you need to understand this particular categorical variable, how many levels does it have? How many categories do we have about it? Why do you have to understand that? The moment, for me as a statistician, the moment the number of ordinal variables, the number of categories, the moment is more than 5, I won't think of a pie chart because it will look clumsy. So anything more than 5, I don't do pie chart for it. I would rather do histogram or bar charts, depending again on the nature of the variable. So in each specific objective. So specific objective 1, you need to examine it very well. What are the variables they are in, and which variable are we looking for? The dependent variable. Some other people call it response variable because it's responding. The independent, some other people will call it explanatory variables or causal variables, as the case may be. Those are the things you are going to identify in each specific objective. Bullet 2. Yeah.
To identify appropriate tables and charts needed based on the specific objective.
All right. If you need, well, I don't know about some schools. In my school, the moment you present a table, you have no business in presenting the chart of the same table. You pick one, okay? So, and I think most journals will not allow you to, you know. So, when we talk about univariable, that is data presentation. You are presenting your data. And what do we normally use univariable analysis for? Sometimes to check the prevalence of a particular thing, to discuss the distribution of the categories of each variable, to also talk about, to describe a particular variable, especially if it is numerical, and also to clean the data. When I first heard the word clean the data, of course the first thing that came to my mind was, is the data dirty? Every raw data will one way or the other be dirty, and so we need to clean it. And what are we looking for when we're talking about cleaning? Outliers. Sometimes you must have written a particular program and declare a particular level of a variable as 1, coded as 1 equals male, 2 equals female. But during data entry, somebody may have punched 3, and so the system will not give it any label, because 1 for male, 2 for female, any other thing. So you as the owner of the data, you of course you know that you did not interview any other person apart from a male and a female. Where is this 3 coming from? So you go back to the data editor. After you must have run the analysis, there is another system in SPSS that will really tell you where the problem is, and then you go straight to the case number, and then you think about it. Either you send the interviewer back to the field, go and check, or you look at it, okay, maybe he actually wanted to punch 2 and he punched 3. So let me put 2 there. That is cleaning the data. Are you getting what I'm saying? If you are interviewing people between age 15 and 49, and all of a sudden you saw 200, that's an outlier. Maybe the person is thinking of 20, and then you clean the data as the case may be. It's also to check missing data when values are missing, and there are different ways of filling it up. You either do an average and then put the mean in those areas. However, the moment there are more than 5, because it can distort the data. So bivariate as well. We have charts for bivariate as well as appropriate tables for bivariate. So also multivariate, appropriate tables for that. And then of course, how to present results. Can we identify the variables here? Now, well, this table assumes that we have 3 specific objectives. It can be more. So when you look at your work, serial number 1, what is the specific objective? What is the dependent variable? In other words, put the variable name, put the levels, especially if it is categorical. Contraceptive use, any other categorical variable. Wealth index, if it is a dependent variable. Okay, then the independent variable, the variable name, the levels, and you are done with specific objective number 1. Go to specific objective number 2, identify the dependent variable, the independent variable. Most of the time, if your work has to do with one dependent variable, then you have the same thing here. Is that clear? All right. Dummy tables. What do you understand by the word dummy? How many of you have looked at somebody to show be a bit dummy by? What does it mean? A prototype. You must have that picture in mind. What do I want? Okay, that's before the analysis. All you're just doing is to look at the specific objectives. What kind of table do I need? And then you bring them out. I'll show you a dummy very short. Well, let me show. I hope I have it. This is a dummy. There is nothing inside. I have that picture in my head already. So by the time I'm doing the analysis, I will just pick those values and put them in here. That's a dummy. When you have that picture, then you know where you're going actually. All right. Your identification and understanding of the variables and their respective levels helps you to determine, one, the nature of the table you need. How many rows, how many columns. How to properly label the table, especially by variables. How to place the levels of each variable when you must have asked yourself, what percentage do you need, row total or column total? Especially by variable tables. For univariable tables, it's just a matter of frequency and percentage. For me as a statistician, I love to go with valid percentage. Why am I using valid percentage? It will take care of missing values. Okay, it will still add up to 100.0, but it will take care of missing values so that I'm not just going to put in zeros into the table. A quick recall: variable into qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative variables, also known as categorical variables, can be dichotomous, can be binary, can be nominal, can be ordinal. When it is dichotomous, have only two categories or groups or levels, has only two responses, or recorded into two responses. I hope you are getting what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
At what point will you recode into two responses? Let me bring back, you have heard about Likert scale before.
Yes,
So, take for example, we have strongly agree, agree, undecided, disagree, strongly disagree. You may want to look at it as, I have 5 levels, can I have 3? Anybody that is strongly disagree, also disagree. So let me pull them together. If you agree and strongly agree, you have agreed. Let me pull them together. So I now have agree, undecided, disagree. That's recoding into 3 levels out of 5. Okay? Same thing for the different other tables, other variables. Okay. Nominal, have 3 or more groups with no specific ordering, like occupation. No specific ordering. Why are we saying no specific ordering? You cannot say, okay, I'm going to put quote farmer as 1. And somebody says, because it's putting farmer as 1, it must be the very first one. After all, what we're going to eat is the senior brother of what we're going to do. Abi? Artisan, student, civil servant. No specific ordering. But when it is ordinal, have 3 or more groups with specific ordering, like wealth index. You go from very poor to very rich. Level of education, you go from none to tertiary. Can you give another example here of a variable like that? Age group. 15 to 19, 20 to 21, 20 to 24, 25 to 29, on and on till 49. That's a particular ordering. So by the time you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know that as they increase in age, so it's also the ordering. Okay, somebody is saying something?
No, I was saying socioeconomic status.
Socioeconomic status. Well, yeah, that's true. Which can also fall into wealth index one way or the other. All right. Quantitative variable, numerical in nature. It can be discrete, it can be continuous. When it is discrete, what are we talking about? Yes. Whole numbers. Okay. As a mathematician, I would prefer you use another word. Integers. All right, integers. But when it is continuous, what does it mean? It's continuous. Can you give an example of such variable? Age. Yeah, age is actually a continuous variable. Researchers will only treat it as if it's discrete, and that's why when demographer will say your age last birthday, okay, and we deal with age last birthday, and that gives you a whole number, an integer. All right. Any other continuous variable?
Education in number of years.
Number of children. Okay.
This discrete variable.
That's discrete. Oh.
Yes, sir. Number of years.
I'm talking about continuous.
Number of years of education.
Years of education. Okay.
Height.
Height. Weight. Okay. And that will lead us to BMI. Have you killed unique income will be what? Assignment number 2. Did I give you any assignment yesterday?
No.
Oh, okay. That your no is so fast. All right. So observations measured on continuous scale having decimal points, real numbers, e.g. weight at birth, height, BP, etc. Notes. I want somebody to read these notes.
It is expected that you must have interacted with or interrogated or socialized with or romanced with data.
I love this word. What does it mean?
Familiarize yourself.
Familiarize yourself with the data. Why? Because by the time you have your topic, your general objective, your specific objectives, if a particular data is not addressing it, you have to look for another data. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. If a particular secondary data is not addressing it, if DHS is not addressing it, go for any other one. For example, issues that has to do with labor and all that, DHS may not really do justice to it. Okay, so you may have to look for data from high, low. MBS can also assist along that line. We were discussing with RGI yesterday, and we were looking at issues about mental health. I'm not sure DHS will really capture everything about mental health, but we asked the MBC man, are you MBC or MPC? MPOPC, yeah. And said there is one is called, what did you call that survey again? Mental survey, or what is it called?
Health facility.
Health, no, not health. You mentioned it yesterday. Ajay, what did he say? That has to do with substance abuse, substance use.
Okay. That's drug.
Drug survey.
Drug survey.
Drug survey. All right. Okay. So appropriate tables, univariable. This is what you have. So use for data cleaning, check for outliers, empty cells, inconsistencies, etc. Can be a single consisting of only one variable, of which the dimension depends on the levels of the variables. What is the dimension of this table? 3 by 3 by 3.
No, 3 by 4.
3 by 4. Really? It's 4 by 3. It's 4 by 3. You mentioned the row before column. Row is this way. So the row of sex, the row of male, the row of female, the row of total.
Yes. Okay, that's 4.
4 ni.
Yes. But I was thinking the upper one is like.
But it's in a row. But it's in a row. We're just looking at this the way this table is actually. Now, what is the difference between this table and this table? Only one variable. And this?
That's 1, 2, 3 variables.
3 variables, namely?
Age, aware, X percent, level of
but it's still a univariable table. Now, appropriate tables bivariable to examine relationships, associations between explanatory variables and response variable. Usually, the response variable is placed on the column, usually noted for fewer number of categories. Note, if you want row or column percentage, for significance of the association, note the p-value and interpret with respect to the stated level of significance. Maybe when we get to the practical session, we'll talk more about all of this. Watch out on empty cells, as you may need to match some levels of the explanatory variables. Okay? Appropriate tables by variable. How many variables do we have here? Two variables, age and never use contraceptive. How many levels of age do we have? Four. And how many levels of contraceptive use? Two. So, we have the total. This total will tell you about total what? Total age. Total by age category. Okay? And the p-value here is just the chi-square is just a single value. The p-value is just a single value. Please note, this is small letter p, not capital letter P. The moment you put capital letter P, it means something different. It's a probability statement. Alright? What is the difference between this table and this table? We have just one independent variable here, but we have how many here? So as many as possible, you have them like that, and it gives each of them their different p-values. Ordinarily, for me, I should have matched these lines together that will terminate at 25 to 29. Match Christianity together that will terminate at others. Yeah, so it's a single p-value, it's a single chi-square value. Okay? Yes, please.
In reporting this kind of bivariate variables, is it a standard practice to always have the independent variable on the is it y-axis now or horizontal?
Sorry. You mean, is it that they must be here?
Yes.
And why not
I
here?
get confused when I'm trying to do SPSS.
Yeah, both of them have specific arrangement, both theta and SPSS. They have specific arrangement of it. So when you do one, what should be in your mind is that your response variable must be here.
Okay.
Okay? And your independent variables must be here. If you put these ones here, then you now have, what's this thing called? Landscape, right? You now have a long one, and that would be clumsy, because table on their own should be able to explain what you are doing. Okay?
I ask because sometimes you can have more than one of the
More than one.
more than one in the independent
More than one independent.
response variable.
Okay, more than one response variable. That may be possible, but you may have to look at another line here that will bear the second one. After this. Okay? Or some other people can just say chi-square into p-value. So for every value of chi-square, they will put in bracket the p-value. Okay? And some people will just put asterisks and define it. Star means less than 5, 0.005 and all that. Okay? What's the difference between this and this?
This is the other one. Which is like a bias of. Having controls.
This is having controls. In other words, what we have initially was like the total thing. Okay? But now, I want to control for sex. I want to look at what is happening among males here. And when I'm done, I'll put females down. At the end of the day, it will give me everything about all. Hands on. What can you say about the table? Oh yeah. Oh.
Use of skilled prenatal care. Improving over the years. Or has improved over the years.
The trend is showing trend.
It's not consistent.
Has improved over the years.
This is from NPCO. Mind the way you say it's not consistent.
There are three variables.
3 variables.
Yes, use of skilled prenatal care services.
Ooh la la la. 3 variables. What are the variables?
Use of sleep prenatal care.
That's a variable.
Service-based
That's variables.
Service utilization.
I almost speak Ijesha to you. Imateoko. That's a variable. We have just one variable. Service.
Those are options.
Me, I won't call them option. They are categories of the variable service. So we have use of skilled prenatal care services, facility-based deliveries, use of postnatal care. And we have 1990. Which variable is this? Yeah. Yeah. 1990, 1999, 03, 08, and 13. Okay. Now, what can you say about these figures? Sorry. Hello. Ma pè padà mo teach lọ.
Use of skilled prenatal care services has close to double between 1990 and 2020.
Okay. Now, use of skilled prenatal care services 36.3, 24.7, 21.3, 57.7, 60.6. Will I be right if I say from year 2003 to 2013 there has been an increase in use of skilled prenatal care?
Yes,
Would you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Why did I say from 2003 and not from 2008?
Yeah, because there's a drop.
There's a drop here. Okay. In fact, I can also say there is a consistent drop. Well, let me not use the word consistent now. There's a drop from 1990 to 2003.
Yeah.
And then it picks up afterwards. Facility based income 30.9, 37.3, 32.6, 35.0, 35.8.
Modulating trend. Not quite stable.
Okay. Now, use of postnatal care. Data not available. Data not available. And then 28.7, 43.7, 41.9.
And between 2003 and 8, but it dropped from between 8 and
2008 and 2019. And then we now have to look for what could have happened around those years that can cause all of this. Why did we not have data here? Okay. So many questions that you can ask, and then you talk about the table. Description using graphs, charts. Why use charts? It depends on your audience. Okay? If you tell me, for example, 2.5% of, I will understand you. But if you tell my mother, She'll be looking at you. So, my mother will feel much at home